All right, and welcome back to another quick video. I just want to do a short little setup video here on enabling the multi-vendor plugin from Vendure. And we're going to be looking at the documentation first, and then we're going to go through some of the code. Um, so the code base that we're starting off with is the same code that was used in the previous videos. If you didn't see those, that was just how to deploy a very basic vanilla Vendure. There's no modifications. We deployed it to DigitalOcean. We used DigitalOcean apps. We connected to a managed Postgres database as well as a managed bucket or asset server. And so what I've done here is basically undid all of those, kind of commented out the SSL certificates. Everything's just connected to my local. I commented out um, the bucket that we were connected to. That's all deleted now. And so now we're just transitioned to our local setup here, and everything should be running fine locally. So this would be, shouldn't have any effect on us, but if you're starting from scratch, this should work exactly the same. Okay, so let's jump into the documentation here. Here we have the multi-vendor marketplace plugin. This allows multiple people to post um, items to your marketplace as if they're their own store, which is a very nice feature, which is why Vendure is so unique from other open source marketplace plugins, or not market, but shop plugins, I'll say, because many other open source projects don't offer this capability, or it's not as easy to integrate, I'll say. Okay, so the so one thing they do note here, and we're going to highlight it, is that the example plugin that we're going to be using is for educational purposes only, and they do leave parts out that are required for production-ready solution, such as email verification and setup of a real payment solution. Those are things we can cover in the future as I go through them. But I think just for the sake of this, we're just going to set up the example and show that it works, and that will be the end of it. Here in the documentation, they walk through all the features of the example plugin. So they have the ability to register new user, to register sellers. You have the ability to change, to set order line channels, set the seller channels for different, or I don't even know. I haven't gone through these, but they're here. Read them and they'll make sense. Set shipping methods and such. Okay, so let's jump right in here. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to get this example. We're going to need to pull the Vendure development version of the code. So you can't go through create and all that stuff. We have to actually go into the development code here, and we're going to be going in. So you could download the zip file code, download zip, or you can clone it, whatnot. So I've already captured that. It's the same stuff as there as is here. So I downloaded it, and we're going to go into packages. We're going to go into dev server. We're going to go into example plugins, and we have the multi-vendor plugin here. And it has all the things that were shown inside the documentation. So if you're curious, you can read through those. But we're not going to go dive into that. We just want to take this plugin, and we want to put this in our project underneath our plugins folder. So here I'm in our backend project. This was created using Vendure Create, and we're going to go into source folder. We can go into our plugins, and we're just going to drop that folder right in here, Vendure plugin. And now we're going to jump over into the code, and we're going to enable the plugin. So inside our Vendure config, we're going to go into plugins here, and we're going to enable our multi multi-vendor plugin. Auto import that, and we're going to say .init, and we're going to initialize it with just a few configurations here. One of them is the platform fee SKU. I believe this basically acts like a label. When you see it on the checkout, I think it shows this part. And then the other part will be the platform fee percent. And we'll just set that to 10. All right, well, how do we know if it works? Well, let's start it up and see what happens. While it's starting up, I'm going to walk through the tool that I'm using to actually test it. So since I don't think the front end has any real interface to test this functionality out just yet, at least it doesn't ship with it. You have to add it manually, I believe. We're going to be using this. We're going to be using Postman. Yeah, Postman, and we're going to be sending our queries through this. So our backend is hosted on port 3001, and then we're going to be pinging the shop or hitting the shop API endpoint. And the command we're going to use to register our seller is going to be here, listed here. This was the same command that was listed in documentation. You could copy and paste it from there. We're going to change things up just a little bit because I've been testing, just because I'm reusing things from the same database. I don't want things to interlap or overlap. So instead of Bob, I'm going to switch it to Tony. Tony at Tony's. And then we're going to create two users. The second user will be it's going to ping the same endpoint, and we're going to Mary at Mary's. Okay, so we have those two set up. We can just hit send, and those should create the seller. Looks like we have an error here. I don't know if that's an error. Register new seller on type mutation. Let's refetch the schema. Okay, it seems to be a false error. I'm not sure why this is saying that. It seems to have worked. So it looks like we had just registered Tony at Tony's. And let's see how that turned out. So here's the back end loaded up. Let's do Tony at Tony's. All right, that looks good. So now we have basically the same dashboard that the super admin has, but I think with some limited capabilities. But you still have the ability to add inventory, manage your inventory, add collections, photos, things like that. So it's perfect. So now let's move to Mary and make sure we can set up Mary. So let's log back out here. Do Mary at Mary's test. Provided credentials are in. Oh, because we didn't actually create Mary just yet. I don't think. I think I forgot to press send. Let's go back here to Mary and let's hit send. Response 200, okay. Duplicate key found. I may, that's odd. I don't remember using this email address before, but let's just try. It's one of the downsides of reusing the same database over and over again. Let's try Mary at Mary and see if that is okay. Send that. Duplicate key found, violates unique constraint. Path, register new seller. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Is it because I use the same shop name? Localhost 3001, shop API. Okay, must have been the shop name. I didn't know the shop name has to be unique. I didn't remember changing the shop name here. Did I change the shop name? Oh, I did. I did change the shop name. Okay. Shop name has to be unique. I didn't know that. All right, let's try login with Mary at Mary. Change this to Mary. Log in. All right, it should be in and should be good to go. So feel free to play around here, add things, remove things, things like that. Get familiar with it. I would recommend first thing is going into your settings and making sure you have some default shipping method, some default payment method, even if it's just a dummy method, dummy payment. Make sure that stuff is working. Make sure you have a country, some type of country enabled and zone. I think if you don't have like a zone or a shipping method set up, it could cause like kind of hidden error. Like it would only cause an error once the order is placed. And that goes in back to that note where this is just for experimenting. It's not meant for production. So I would thoroughly test it, make sure that you have all the right edge cases implemented and everything's functioning properly before you actually try to deploy this part, which is why we went through deployment first, and then now we're going back through all the kind of experimental stuff. But at least you have it set up, you have it connected, and you have it working, hopefully. If you have any issues, I would advocate for reaching out to the official Vendure team. I'm just making these for fun. But yeah, thanks for joining, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.